At the beginning of this story, we learn that a long time ago, there was not only a human world, but also a magical world. Humans used to live happily in this magical world until one day, a greedy dragon appeared from the sky. This dragon wanted to destroy all humans. When the whole world was in danger, a brave warrior stepped forward to protect it. He fought with the dragon and defeated it, but the dragon's soul escaped into the magical world and started planning to destroy humans once again. A powerful magician named Adler captured the dragon's soul and imprisoned it in the magical world. During this time, the dragon discovered a magical fireflower that could help it regain its body and seek revenge on humans. As time passed, people forgot about the dragon, and a new city was built. However, Adler knew that the danger was not over because the dragon was patiently waiting for the right moment to strike. In the next scene, we meet a boy named Nikki, who is the son of the great warrior who defeated the dragon. Nikki's dad used to be a great warrior, but now he runs a dairy farm. Nikki and his older brother help their dad on the farm. While Nikki's older brother is also strong like their dad, Nikki is physically weak and often gets teased by other boys. Nikki's dad has the dragon's body hanging on the farm and asks Nikki to work with him. However, Nikki dreams of becoming a dragon hunter and a great warrior like his father. Nikki's dad explains to him that the dragons are gone now and he himself defeated the last remaining dragon. When his dad realizes that Nikki isn't ready to listen, he leaves him alone and walks away. Nikki is in his room with his pet Draco, and the dragon's body is right in front of him. Nikki grabs his dad's weapon and starts challenging the dragon's body to a fight. Unfortunately, he makes a mistake and the dragon's body falls down. Nikki accidentally falls inside the dragon's body through a cut in the middle. Just then, his dad arrives and helps him out of the dragon's body. His dad tells Nikki to give up his passion for defeating dragons and join the family business. Nikki says he wants to be a brave warrior, but he feels small and weak. His dad explains that strength comes from the heart, not from having a big body. In the next scene, we see a magician named Adler. He is training his student, Eddie, to become a great magician like him. Adler asks Eddie to use his magical power to make a goat fly, but Eddie doesn't know how to use his magic properly yet. He can only make the goat do one extra trick. Adler gets angry at Eddie and tells him to go back inside and study. Suddenly, Adler sees a red asteroid falling from the sky. He gets worried and learns from his magical book that a great danger is coming to the world. If the dragon's soul gets the magical red flower that will bloom because of the red asteroid, he will regain his body. Adler sends Eddie on a mission to deliver an urgent message to Nikki's dad, Cyril Toner. When Cyril receives Adler's letter, he realizes that there is trouble ahead. He leaves his family and sets out to meet Adler. Meanwhile, Nikki and his friend Drudge also head out to meet Adler. Upon meeting Adler, Cyril learns that the appearance of a red asteroid in the sky is a sign that the magical red flower is about to bloom in the magical world. They need to obtain the flower quickly because if the dragon gets it, he will regain his body. Cyril is shocked to hear this as he had killed the dragon himself. Adler explains that the dragon's soul escaped and possessed the body of a witch in the magical world. Nikki arrives at Adler's house with Draco and meets Eddie, who reveals that he is a magician. They become friends, and the next day, the dragon, now in the body of the sorceress, learns about the red asteroid and tries to escape the cave to get the red flower. However, Adler's spell prevents her from leaving. Nikki and Eddie have a conversation where Eddie explains everything about the dragon and his plan to retrieve his body with the help of the red flower. Nikki is thrilled because he sees an opportunity to save the world and become a hero like his father. He asks Eddie how they can go to the magical world. Eddie tells him that they can use a magical portal. Eddie uses his magic to open a portal to the magical world, but he can't close it. This causes Nikki, Eddie, and Draco to get pulled inside the portal. Nikki's dad and Adler arrive to help them. They save Draco from going to the magical world, but Nikki and Eddie end up going there. The portal is closed now. Nikki's dad is very upset about them going to the magical world. In the magical world, Nikki asks Eddie to open the portal again, but he can't. So Nikki decides to find the crystal lake and get the magical red flower to defeat the dragon. Meanwhile, the dragon finds out that Nikki and Eddie are in the magical world and is surprised to see them. The dragon sends an evil creature to capture them. In the next scene, Nikki and Eddie are exploring the magical world. They meet a boy and his squirrel who ask for food. When they don't give them food, the squirrel attacks Nikki. Eventually, the boy understands that they don't have food. He says goodbye to them and leaves. Eddie realizes that the boy has magical powers like Adler, so they ask him for help in finding Crystal Lake. Eddie promises the boy lots of food in exchange for his help. The boy and his squirrel agree to help them. In the next scene, Adler is planning to come to the magical world. They ask Nikki's dad to bring metal and wood from their house. Nikki's dad leaves to get them. On the flip side, while searching for Crystal Lake in the magical world, Nikki encounters Eddie and Rocky has a blast riding the three-headed snail and the giant dragonfly. He really enjoys the magical world. Meanwhile, Nikki discovers that Rocky lives alone with his squirrel in the magical world and has no other family members. Suddenly, a four-handed monster sent by the dragon attacks Nikki, but Rocky comes to their rescue. Eddie uses his magical spell to make the demon fall into a ditch. Unfortunately, Rocky also falls into the ditch, but he manages to escape with the help of a flying flower. Rocky tells Nikki to meet him near the Crystal Lake. On the other hand, Adler uses his magical powers to build a plane using wood and iron brought from Nikki's dad's home so that they can travel to the magical world. While near Crystal Lake in the magical world, Nikki and Eddie are surrounded by dark spirits sent by the dragon, who take the form of her dad and criticize Nikki, making her feel sad. Similarly, the dark spirits in the form of Adler tell Eddie that he is a bad magician and can never become great. Eddie is also saddened by this. However, Nikki realizes that her dad would never say such things to her and reassures Eddie that everything they are seeing and hearing is a lie. Eddie fights back against the dark spirits with his magical spell and drives them away. The dragon is astonished by Eddie's magical power. Meanwhile, the dragon watches Nikki and Rocky through a magical portal, and Rocky is able to see the dragon clearly in the Crystal Lake, surprising her to know how Rocky could see them. Rocky tells his squirrel that he is feeling really weird after seeing the lady because he's feeling both love and anger towards her. Then, she tells Rocky that she can grant all his wishes and even bring him back to his mom, but in return, he has to give her Nikki and Eddie. When Rocky hears this, he gets really mad because he can't betray his friends, so he fights the dragon. The dragon realizes that Rocky is strong and decides to stay away from him, so he sends his demon to capture Rocky. Later, Nikki and Eddie arrive at Crystal Lake and meet Rocky there. Rocky asks Nikki for food because he promised to give him a lot of food after taking him to the lake. Nikki explains to Rocky that he's on a mission and needs to finish it quickly, but after that, he'll give him plenty of food. They all go to the house in the middle of Crystal Lake, which actually belongs to the magician lady of the magical world, who is currently possessed by the dragon's soul. Rocky is surprised because the house looks familiar, even though he's never been there before. At the house, they discover a letter that provides a clue to finding the red flower. Rocky learns from the letter about a riddle involving a stone stork that has been observing its reflection in the water for eternity. Nikki realizes that the puzzle refers to the stone stork outside the house. After solving the puzzle, Rocky and Nikki enter a mysterious cave where their magic doesn't work. Inside the cave, Nikki notices dangerous flowers that become activated by sound. Nikki helps Eddie and Rocky quietly. While moving forward, Eddie accidentally sneezes, causing the cave's flowers to spew fire. Nikki and their friends run away to save their lives. They come across a deep ditch with floating anti-gravity crystals, which they use to escape. During this, Rocky's cap falls off, revealing that Rocky is actually a girl named Roxina. Nikki and Roxina, along with Squirrel and Eddie, continue their journey. After some time, they encounter a stone monster that frightens them. Nikki bravely confronts the monster and challenges it to a fight. Surprisingly, the monster picks up Nikki but doesn't harm them. The monster reveals that it is the guardian of the cave and is pleased with Nikki's bravery. Nikki then tells the guardian everything about the fireflower and the dragon and asks for his help. After hearing Nikki's story, the guardian gives him one of his fireflies to assist him. The Guardian then uses his magical portal to send Nikki and his friends out of the cave and goes to sleep for a few years. When Nikki and his companions are searching for the fireflower, a monster sent by the dragon attacks them and captures Roxina. The monster demands that Nikki bring the fireflower to the dragon in exchange for Roxina's release. Eddie explains to Nikki that they cannot give the fireflower to the dragon no matter what, but Nikki has no other choice if he wants to save Roxina from the dragon. In the next scene, when the dragon touches Roxina, she realizes that the dragon's body is her mother's body and that the house in the middle of the crystal lake belongs to her. This is why the house seemed familiar to Roxina. Witnessing this, the dragon's soul commands his demon to imprison Roxina because he cannot harm her while she is in her mother's body. In the following scene, we see Adler, who is traveling with Nikki's family on the ship he built. While they are flying in the air, Adler uses his magical power to open a portal that allows them to enter the magical world. In another scene, Nikki chases after the Guardian's firefly and finally reaches the fireflower. He is filled with joy upon seeing it. However, as soon as he plucks the flower, the dragon becomes aware of it. This also breaks Adler's magical spell, setting the dragon free from the cave. Meanwhile, Adler has entered the magical world and discovers that Nikki has obtained the fireflower. On the other hand, Nikki reaches the dragon with the fireflower and offers it in exchange for Roxana. Despite the objections from Roxana and Eddie, Nikki has no other choice but to save Roxana. With the fireflower, the dragon regains its body and its soul is released from Rachna's mom's body. Rachna's mom regains consciousness and is overjoyed to see Roxana. Adler joins Nikki's family and prepares to attack the dragon to save Nikki. Nikki is thrilled to see Adler and his family members there. Before the dragon can attack them, Nikki, Eddie, and Roxana escape on a ship built by Adler. Nikki begins to attack the dragon from the ship, angering the dragon. Despite the dragon's pursuit, Nikki manages to save the ship and lead the dragon away. In the process, Nikki severely injures the dragon, causing it to become enraged and attempt to kill him with its fire breath. However, the dragon's own body starts to burn and it ultimately perishes in the flames. This outcome brings great happiness to Nikki's dad, as Nikki has truly become a warrior like him by slaying the dragon. Next, Adler declares Eddie as an amazing magician just like him, which brings a big smile to Eddie's face. Following this, Nikki bids farewell to Roxana's family and goes back to his own world with his family. Roxana then happily settles in the magical world with her mom. The movie concludes with this joyful scene. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.